What's up, Minnesota Viking fans? Welcome to the Purple People Podcast. My name is Kyle Smith, and we are coming at you live tonight, Sunday, July 10th, 2022. It's almost 11 p.m. on the East Coast here. It's a late show, but we're glad that some of you are already here. What's up, Cliff? How are you? What's up, guys? How we doing? Kyle?
Doing pretty good. Late night with the Purple People Podcast.
You can blame Kyle for that. We throw any blame we have at the show anyways at him, but you can blame him tonight.
I'm used to it. That's what happens at work every day. So just pile it on here, guys. Just pile it on.
I also heard a rumor that Kyle West runs Howie Mandel's TikTok.
Yeah, Adam was saying he was a really big fan of what Howie Mandel posted on his TikTok.
I mean, you got to follow that, right?
I guess I'm going to now. I'm not going to lie. I'm kind of frightened a little bit, but I'm going to do it.
You should be.
Yeah.
Have you
see? Your intuition is usually right.
Smith, are you aware of what we're even discussing?
No, I just remember the only thing I remember about him outside of what he does for work is that he's a clean freak and he's very much like a germaphobe.
Adam, what's the PG way to explain this one?
We'll talk about it after the show.
You don't want to get kicked off YouTube, do you?
And of course, I didn't give him his proper introduction, but Adam Carlson is here. We are glad you're here, sir. I'm going to pull up some stuff that you wrote because I really don't know what much we're going to talk about. This has been a big lull in the news for the Vikings, at least. We can talk about a recent acquisition here in North Carolina for the Panthers. It doesn't really affect us that much, but there was an interesting thing today, and I'm going to lead off with that because I like the confidence, but I don't believe that when you bounce from one team to one team to one team year after year, that means you're the best at what you do. But former safety for the Vikings, A Kearse, said there isn't 23 more, which is an odd number. Is that his number? I thought it was 27.
I never even saw the list of the article, so I'm out on this one.
Yeah, I'm just going off the premise of A Kearse believes he's a top-tier safety in the league, and that was pretty funny. The Vikings got rid of you, and then the Detroit Lions that need all the defensive help they can get let go of you. He did find a starting role in Dallas, which is cool. But there's a lot of just people putting out that they're better. I heard Ja Morant today said he would beat Michael Jordan in one-on-one, and it just I wish that social media wasn't around because some of these things I don't want to hear. This being one of them, but I have a nice list here from PFF we can go over. But yeah, what are your guys' thoughts? Cliff, what's your thoughts? Is A Kearse, are we missing out? Did we miss out by drafting Lewis Seen because we should have?
NFL players should be confident. They should think they're among the best at what they do because they are. I mean, everybody in the NFL is an elite talent.
Right.
None of those guys are absolute scrubs. But, of course, there are the tiers within the NFL. And as much as I like A Kearse and what he did in Minnesota and his athleticism, playmaking ability, I'd say he's right about there. I don't think he could have argued if he made the list. I don't think he could have argued if he didn't. 23 or whatever it is was the cutoff.
I'm on PFF. This came out in May, so not that long ago. The end of May, so not that long ago. They have different versions of tiers. They have the coverage free safety tier, which he did not fall under here that I'm looking at. They have box strong safety, which he did not fall in. He did fall up in the matchup slot tier at the very bottom at number 7. But the one I liked was the all-around safety tier. And guess who's at number 2 on that list? Good old Harrison Smith from the Vikings.
Harrison Smith.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm actually
learning here. I was going to guess Anderson Dejo.
Remember when some portion of the Vikings media was like, hey, Harrison Smith is old and we need to move on from him. And we
Not
were
quite
all
yet.
We were all like, no, he is still really, really good.
Yeah, we're like, we know we don't do your job, but I think you're wrong.
I don't know if I would have handed him the extension Minnesota did. But, I mean, it's good to have him around.
Yeah.
This is interesting. I'm not going to read it out here. I'll study it for myself, but I like the coverage free safety tier, the box strong safety. You can tell by some of these guys' build to where they're going to be. Matchup slot, I get it. He was good with Minnesota when he was on special teams. So he made a lot of splash plays on special teams, but couldn't beat out an undrafted free agent. So, yeah. Just thought that was funny. wanted to dedicate a show to J-Ron Kearse. How we miss you, sir. Not really, but
Well, the Vikings secondary, as we all saw, had that massive turnover. Every time their rookie contracts were up, usually they'd be right out the door unless they got a fifth-year option or maybe a 2-year extension that they barely squeaked their way through. So I don't know what it was, the Mike Zimmer era and those defensive backs moving on, but it was ugly.
and I get it. It's like quarterbacks. If you want to stay youthful and save money, I get it. But corners outside of quarterback, can we all agree it's probably one of the toughest positions in the NFL? So guys that are going to come in and just be Darrelle Revis are slim to none. If that's a good day. So I don't get that. That's something we could discuss later too. That's a good topic. Is now that we have that sample of 8 years to analyze some of the shortfalls that happen with that whole regime, because there's plenty of options to choose from. But I feel like that's low hanging fruit right now since the first season. Maybe we could do that later on this year or early next year. But
is Smith auto-tuning to you?
No. No, he sounds good on my end. Although auto-tuned Kyle Smith would be A+. I'd be down for that.
I've never heard it or used it on myself, but that would be interesting.
Everything's back to normal for me now. Sorry about that, guys.
Must have been your internet. You definitely should.
I moved my phone behind me, so hopefully that helps.
You definitely should do the auto-tune thing, though.
Just make a gag song where I just like overdo it, like T-Pain.
There's no real way to do it that's not overdoing it.
That whole Trey Wayne's Vikings thing, that was so out of context.
What was his exact quote? It was something about how he was pissed at he thought the Vikings were going to draft him earlier than what they did or something.
No, his agent told him that the Vikings were out on him. So he was like, F the Vikings. And then the Vikings actually called, and at that point he was still mad at the Vikings. So, I mean, to me, this is all on the agent. It had nothing to do with either Wayne's or Minnesota.
That's a good point.
But yeah, I mean, it's a weird situation. Those draft day calls have to be strange.
This is good. We'll talk about this later. We can do it now if you guys want, but this is a good... I mean, I just find this so intriguing. And this is an article you can go check out from Adam Carlson. I'm not going to give it two ways, but just what happened if Kirk Cousins went down? Man, I want to talk about the Baker Mayfield stuff because it's just such a weird situation here in Carolina right now. You have two guys that were 1 and 3 in their respective draft order in the same year that they came out, basing it just strictly off of athleticism and size and all that. Like Sam Darnold is a bigger, stronger, faster quarterback, but he didn't really show anything impressive last year. He was actually pretty bad.
His second year with the Jets, he actually was a good quarterback.
Yeah,
I know that because I picked him up as a fantasy football quarterback.
Nice.
And he gave me some real good games through that stretch. And honestly, at that point, I was like, maybe he's turning it around. But I also kind of am looking at it like, boy, it would be not too exciting leading a Jets offense. Then I looked at the Panthers and I'm thinking, no offense to the Panthers, but once their running back goes down, it's kind of rough.
There's a severe drop-off from their RB1 to RB2. They do have good receivers. Watched them in person last year with Sam Darnold. They did an all right job. They've helped with the line, which is good for Baker Mayfield. But I was just watching Colin Cowherd, and I have to echo what he thinks. And, he'll take any chance he can to poo-poo on Baker Mayfield. But it's not necessarily that he wanted to here. He's like, dude, it's early July. You're going to play a game in 2 months. This guy's been there for a whole year. I don't know that Baker Mayfield's going to start for the Panthers. Not immediately anyways.
That's such a joke.
You think so?
Absolutely. Baker played last year with 2 bad shoulders. He should have been sitting out the whole time. And yeah, you can poop on all over him if you want, but you look at the years before that when he was playing healthy and he was a good quarterback. He brought that team to the playoffs with of course, it was a strong running game to help him along the way, and you can make that argument as much as you want, but I think Baker's going to go in there and do very, very well. I don't think that they're going to be able to trade Darnold unless they eat a ton of salary cap because he's making $18.8 million this year or something like that.
That's what, yeah. They brought up some interesting points though, and it made me think about the Vikings as well. But you think they're only paying Baker $5, so they're paying him backup money, but he's definitely a starter somewhere in the league. He might not be the top half. Neither one of them may be top half, but it's gonna be interesting here. I'll be sure to put my ear to the ground in Charlotte. Working here, like, what's the vibe? Because Sam has a leg up being here in the system with the coach, knowing the players, but they have, this is how I want to transition it to the Vikings. They have a great situation, even if they're top of their quarterback levels and talent are not what we have. They have depth that it's kind of close. These are 2 former first-round picks, 1 and 3 overall, and they just drafted a kid this year who's a pretty good prospect. And that leads me to what we wrote in your article. Now you guys can go check that out for yourself because I don't want to steal that away from Adam getting clicks. Go check that out.
I do appreciate the clicks.
Yes, please help him get clicks. But if Kirk Cousins goes down, this Vikings team is royally effed, and I don't trust either one of the options and the backups right now. Who's out there that the Vikings could go find that's just on the street, and are they better than Sean Mannion? Do we throw in the towel this early on Kellen Mond? I don't think you should, but I don't see it.
I don't know, man.
And this is a lot of pressure that Kevin O'Connell has to have this year on developing a backup, trusting the clipboard holder and QB2, and then also can you elevate Kirk to what it is? There's a lot of stuff on Twitter I got into arguments about this weekend too about that. Like, well, the only year he was an OC in Washington, they were terrible. It's like, yeah, the whole team was terrible. What are you talking about?
It's also Washington.
That's comparing that Washington team to this Rams team of this year you got to have some common sense there. I mean, that's just my opinion, but I don't know. It's interesting, man. I'm excited for this year to see the depth of Kirk Cousins unlocked that we haven't seen yet, and I don't expect it to happen every game. Maybe it only happens in 4 or 5 games that mean something, or they're, seeding games, blah, blah, blah. But I'm more excited to see what the offense in general looks like on those formations that they talked about. Remember, he talked about things are going to look the same, and 10 plays can come out of one setup. I think that's pretty cool.
Well, I definitely think that the Vikings need to do something with the backup quarterback position. Like you said, you've got Coach Sean Mannion back there, who I don't think any of us ever really want to see in a game ever again. Kellen Mond is, there's some potential and upside to Kellen Mond. You haven't heard a thing about him either last year, and we know that whole situation. We don't really need to get into that. But even this year, I haven't seen a highlight. I haven't seen anything. None of the beat reporters have said, oh man, Kellen Mond made this really big throw in OTA. And we're talking OTAs where you don't see.
I did hear a little bit of that. I did hear that he was impressing the coaching staff and that he came in with a knowledge and positivity. So, this is a time when Kellen Mond can basically be an unknown after being with the Vikings for a year, and the new coaching staff and the new systems might be a huge benefit for him.
Well, I guess where I was going is I would still like to see them bring in more of a veteran
absolutely
quarterback. Mm-hmm. And I don't know how many veteran-capable quarterbacks are out there.
The list is not good.
It's not good.
I'm going to look
if
for
you
it.
could get someone like a Cam Newton to come in to be a backup, I don't think Cam wants to be a backup, but someone with like his credentials where, hey, we've got 10 plus years as a starter in the league. He could pick up a playbook. Someone like that is what you
got your Mike Glennons, you got your AJ McCarrons, and those guys are out there, but neither one has been successful at the NFL level. And it's not like you're looking for one of those fringe starter quarterbacks that are going to cost you a ton of money to get either in free agency or through a trade. So it's going to be a little rough.
If you could wrangle Teddy Bridgewater away from, where's he at now?
Miami.
Miami.
This is not looking good, guys. I'm on Spot Track right now, and some of these aren't updated because I guess they haven't signed officially yet. Jameis Winston would be the best of those. Obviously, Marcus Mariota's in Atlanta. Mitchell Trubisky's in Pittsburgh.
You gotta update the list through on free agents and unsigned.
Let's go to all statuses here. Oh, it says available. Let's go to available here. Who's available right now?
Now you'll get the list.
Ryan Fitzpatrick is retired. Cam Newton, he's not going to come here. He wants to start. Mike
Cam's
Glennon.
not taking. He's not doing the backup thing. We don't want Mike Glennon.
But if Cam doesn't get signed leading up to when Kirk gets hurt, I mean,
it
would be nicer to have him here to learn.
Adam.
He definitely said when.
You definitely said when.
Well, yeah. The pattern, man.
Here's an interesting one. I would take a flyer on this guy from Atlanta. That's the last place he was at. Josh Rosen. He can't be worse than Sean Mannion.
He's not good.
I mean, he can't be worse than Josh Rosen. AJ McCarron is also in Atlanta. Sign that too.
God,
dude, I'd say Mike Glennon would be fine. Shit, he played against the Vikings last year with the Jaguars, or was it the year before? Fuck, they almost beat us.
You know, it's a bad list when Mike Glennon's at the top of it.
Let's go, Chad Henne. Oof. Thank you. Hey, Cliff, thank you for staying up to talk about Josh Rosen at 11 o'clock at night with us. We appreciate it.
Yeah, not bringing a veteran quarterback in to learn the playbook and be ready to go in. I mean, I guess you can consider Sean Mannion an NFL veteran.
Ugh.
But, I mean, you'd definitely be using the term loosely there.
Yeah. Who was the old quarterback that went in for one game before Sam Bradford started after Teddy went down?
Sean Hill.
Hill
against Tennessee. I'll never forget that. Never forget it. I was in Virginia. I was watching at a local sports bar with the ESPN affiliate, and the guy was like, "This is your team?" I was like, "Give it time." And Eric Kendricks had a good pick in that game. I remember Chad Greenway had a pick in that game, and Adrian Peterson. It was 2015. Yeah. Or no, that was the year before. I believe that was the Teddy year. I just remember we played Tennessee that week, and then the next one, Bradford started. That's the year we went 6-0 to start, or 5-0 to start. That's right. I wanted so badly for Bradford to start, and I was like, is he going to do well? And wasn't that – let's talk about that game for a second. Wasn't that so weird? Like 3 passes in, he has a contusion on his hand, and you're like, this guy is the most fragile human being on planet Earth. Yeah. But he outplayed Aaron Rodgers that game.
But Sean Hill, it was like the perfect example of that veteran quarterback who can come in and learn a system. And, hey, you needed him to win a game, and we won a game with Sean Hill. Do you want him for more than 1 or 2? No, probably not.
Absolutely not.
But Sean Mannion, I don't trust him to go in there and win a game for us.
No.
And I don't with Kellen Mond either.
I'm not going to say no with Kellen Mond yet, because I don't know what he has.
Yeah, we don't know.
I think,
and it's even worse when you look a little further down the depth chart, because the Vikings do have a quarterback on the practice squad that we also know almost nothing about unless you watch Iowa football, I guess.
I believe this guy's retired now, but Blake Bortles is still out there. He's a free agent. I would much rather give him a shot. I don't see.
And as far as trading for a quarterback, I mean, if you're doing it mid-season, that's a terrible idea. Right off the bat.
That's going to stir the pot. That's going to stir the pot. Oh, God, Vikings Twitter would love that.
But, yeah, I mean.
What's funny is this is a condensed, worse version of the conversation we had earlier when we were talking about whether or not the Vikings should move on from Kirk Cousins in the first place. And remember when the list of Kirk Cousins replacements was fucking god-awful?
Oh, yeah.
The same thing we're looking at now, only the pickings are even slimmer for like backup quarterbacks.
Hey, Kyle, I just want to tell you, because there's not too many people watching the show. We kind of have it loose tonight. We were talking in the chat earlier, and Kyle said, are there 10 quarterbacks you would take ahead of Kirk? And I was like, I think it would be at 10. We discussed, Lamar Jackson, this and this. Cowherd, I watched 2 videos from him today, and it's really weird that you brought that up, because he made a list like 4 days ago. No Lamar Jackson, no Dakota Prescott in the top 10. You know who's number 10 on his list?
Who?
Adam's going to love this. Derek Carr.
I thought you were going to say Carson Wentz.
Oh, yeah, he does like Carson Wentz for some stupid reason. Yeah, no Lamar Jackson, and he thinks Kyler Murray and Derek Carr are 9 and 10. And I was like,
I like Carr a lot more with Devontae Adams now.
Yeah, see, that was the conversation starter there. He goes, I forget who said it. Was like, it was Brett Favre. Was like, I think Devontae's going to drop off going to Las Vegas. He doesn't have Aaron Rodgers. Like, Colin was pretty smart. He's like, I think it's the opposite. I think Aaron's going to drop off because he doesn't have a number one wide receiver.
I don't
Derek
think
Carr will
Aaron
get him the
Rodgers-
ball.
Aaron Rodgers is never going to drop off.
There's your hot take right there.
Packers got themselves a big wide receiver in the draft, so I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I think they'll be fine.
He made a great point. He said they thought that Adams would be fine because Carr will get him the ball, which he'll, they were college teammates. They probably got a connection still. But
Yeah.
I just laughed at that list because Kyle had brought it up, and we're like, no, I'd probably take Lamar. He's a little younger, he's more dynamic, blah, blah, blah. But he didn't make the list of top 10, but Derek Carr did. And I was like, I hate these old white guys that are in sports media so much. Oh, my goodness. They're terrible sometimes. And I don't see the hype on Kyler Murray. I don't see it.
He's exciting.
I like Kyler Murray, but he already seems like he wants to quit on the Cardinals. I don't know.
Like he wants to quit football.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they started red hot last year. The Vikings played great defense against them. Kicker woes obviously would not go in our favor, but they were pretty terrible the second half of the year. And he's leading the charge there. I don't see your savior in a quarterback there, but I'm biased.
Sorry, I still think he's too small. I'm not saying he can't get it done for a short amount of time. Pun not intended, but we'll work with it if you want to.
People love to point out things like, oh, Russell Wilson isn't very tall, or Drew Brees wasn't very tall, but it's like those are two exceptions.
I know.
Seeing over your offensive line is a nice benefit.
There's a handful of short guys who have made it in the NFL in however many years the league's been around. A handful.
And those guys were also good at not getting smacked around. We'll see what happens if Kyler Murray continues to get smacked around out there on the field. We were talking about backup quarterbacks, to backtrack for a minute too. We forgot to think outside the box because there's a former Minnesota Viking who did pretty good in the USFL.
Yeah, they'll pound the table for that guy.
I'm just saying that if we wanted a third time in Minnesota for Kyle Sloter?
Yeah, bring him in.
I mean, hey, he is a baller. I don't know.
Well, they would have been fine here with a backup situation if they would have just kept Taylor Heineke, but they got rid of him, so that was really smart. Jesus.
Well, he was going to go somewhere and make a little bit of money anyway, so I do kind of get that. But
okay, so
and now he's going to get kind of screwed over in Washington.
I was going to say, if there was no money involved in this, if it's just a flat-out competition between Carson Wentz and Taylor Heineke, who's winning that competition?
You know what's funny? Taylor Heineke said the same exact thing.
Yeah,
during an interview.
Did he really? Did he?
Oh,
really?
yeah.
Yeah.
I'll tell you this. Carson is way more talented, and he'll wow you, but his floor is god-awful compared to Taylor. Taylor's that flat line that you want to ride. It's like, he's kind of mid right here, but you're going to go to the top of the mountain with Wentz, and then you're going to crash to the bottom. And that's what I hate about him.
He can fool people into thinking he's an MVP.
The one year he was, but that team itself was they literally won it all. That team around, and I laugh at this now thinking about it because the coaching was obviously shit in that NFC Championship game. But if you put Nick Foles on the Vikings and Case Keenum on the Eagles, they would have won a Super Bowl still. I would put my money on it.
Yeah.
I 100% put my money on it. Why wouldn't they? Because that Vikings team was good, but that Eagles team was great.
It's all about catching fire at the right time in the NFL.
That too, man.
That Eagles team just caught fire at the right time, and Nick Foles
had a great backup quarterback to save their ass when they needed it.
They rallied around him, just like the Vikings rallied around Case Keenum too. We didn't get as far as we wanted to with it, but man, that team really pulled for him. They really pulled around him.
They did. So of course, the natural thing to do is get him off the team the next year.
I do think they made the right decision on that, though.
No, you're right. They did,
but it was hard because there were some great moments there from Case Keenum, led to some really good games and just tough ground out victories that were so fun to watch. But
that was
he's not a franchise guy.
Out of the 2019 and the 2017 season, I think the 2017 season, and we had a better O coordinator then. No offense to Stefanski because I like him a lot, but that was the one year where Mike Zimmer football thrived because the defense would hold everybody to 20 points a game. You're like, well, shit, we can win this game. We just got to get 2 touchdowns and a couple field goals, and we're going to win this game. So
Right.
why not? But bringing this back, man, I had this argument on Twitter today, and I've got a couple Viking followers that I appreciate to death, but I have guys in the chat, and if you guys feel this way too, talk me out of it. But there's guys on Twitter telling me that Kirk is better than Justin Herbert, and I'm just like,
Oh,
no, I don't think so, sir.
He's
I
got
think Joe Burrow's better than him now already, but I don't think they're this far apart. I just look at like the physical mold, and I'm like, oh shit, that guy's really good already. Kirk's had to like slowly climb his way into the conversation of like, he's a pretty good starter. But these guys, I'm talking like, I think they're going to make the Josh Allen jump because they're like pre-Josh Allen right now. And I'm like, these guys are fucking good.
It's weird to look back, though, and see how people used to make fun of Josh Allen, how he was a joke because of his accuracy. And then in comes new coaching staff. They work on his throwing motions.
One offseason. One. And he's a superstar.
Giving him
so
Stephon
good.
Diggs helped out quite a bit too.
Well, yeah, that helps a little bit.
Yeah,
but it's crazy, man. I was talking, and he's like, "Oh yeah." So for that, I was like, "Well, I was at the Chargers game. I watched that game. You're not going to tell me that Kirk was better than Justin." He goes, "Oh, so that terrible Vikings defense that we had, they just figured it out." I was like, "Yeah, I think teams can have a bad game." I was like, "We beat the Packers last year. That shitty defense you're talking about right now beat the Packers." In a nail biter.
Yeah.
So you can have an off game, man. Like that happens. That quarterback's thrown more yards and more touchdowns than anyone in history in the first 2 years ever. I was like, I think there's something about him that's like, that kid's pretty good. He's all right. I'm not talking bad about Kirk. I'm fully on the Kirk train this show, and you guys have
until
week 2, and he's got 3 touchdowns to 4 interceptions, and I'm like, this guy sucks. And I hate him. Why is OBJ still a free agent? Probably the injury, I guess.
Why is JC Treader still a free agent?
Ooh, bad knees. That's why. That's the only thing I can think of.
According to Vikings, though, Vikings fans on social media, he is like God tier, man.
If he was, they would have signed him right now. I don't know about you, but you've seen it with Matt Khalil. The last thing you want with an offensive lineman, and especially a center, is knee injuries.
Is Julio still a free agent?
Julio Jones?
Where is Julio?
I don't know.
No, he's somewhere else.
He's not still with the Titans? Or
no.
Did he? I could not tell you, which is crazy because he was one of the top receivers in the league, and if you would have told me in his prime...
He's a free agent right now.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
That's crazy.
There's tons of big names at free agency, and we have no idea why.
One day ago, Cowboy rumors, Dallas among the favorites to sign Julio Jones. God. Back in his prime, he was a force.
Can you imagine signing both Julio and OBJ right now?
Yeah. What was Julio's numbers like last year? What did he do?
He did nothing. He was in Tennessee, and he did literally that's my number one team this year. That's supposed to dive into the dumpster as a tight end.
He spent a lot of time injured last year.
He was injured. They had A.J. Brown, who was a dog, and they sent him to Philly. Why in the world would you get rid of A.J. Brown? That dude is a monster. They have no wide receivers on that team. Let me see.
Terrible.
Yeah. For as much trial and tribulation the Viking fans go through,
I know
they coast right in the middle of, well, we didn't do something that stupid. Like
right before we were
like trading away Stephon Diggs.
Yeah.
Boy, that would have been stupid.
Good thing they hit on the draft.
Pretty good. No, I was just watching a video before we were recording about Trevor Lawrence, and the video was titled "Sometimes Numbers Lie." And it's like if you look at Trevor Lawrence's numbers, and he was awful last year. But when you actually look at the game tape and the situation around him, he played pretty well. And like I'm kind of pulling for him. I'm kind of pulling for him to, to turn it around and to look good and to be in a better situation.
I'm not expecting it to happen the first year with the new staff, but I do think he is definitely going to be the long-term answer there.
You got to think the culture shift that the Vikings had, going from old, grumpy, stubborn-nosed Zimmer to this positive, young guy now. It has to be the same thing in Jacksonville-ish. Because, I don't know why Urban Meyer would ever come to the NFL anyways, but, this shit, he was kicking the kicker, that kind of shit. You can't go, Doug Peterson's going to figure it out. He took a year off, took a sabbatical. He'll figure something out. Especially when you have that kid. He was supposed to be like the next Peyton Manning.
Next Andrew Luck?
Dude, yeah.
That's a name. That's another thing, too. Man, I wish Andrew Luck was still playing.
Yeah.
Still
you and
healthy,
me
still
both.
playing football. Like, the league would be so much more entertaining with him.
I don't like seeing the Titans represent the NFC or the AFC South in the playoffs. I don't want to watch Ryan Tannehill in the playoffs.
Until someone can stop Derrick Henry.
Yeah, well, no shit. That's going to be easier said than done.
Injuries will catch up to him quick.
Kyle, you had something else you wanted to talk about on the show, like specifically in the chat. What was that?
I said backup quarterback, and we pretty much hit that. Yeah.
Well, we can do something kind of fun here for a second if you want.
Let's do it.
I've got 5 Vikings trivia questions for you guys. And I don't know if you guys want to do it because they're not the easiest. But if nothing, they'll be fun.
We'll go
I'm going to fail miserably at this. Let's go.
I'm
All right.
bad at trivia in general, but let's go.
All right, let's start this off with the first one here. In which season did the Vikings win their first ever playoff game?
First ever playoff game.
1968.
If anyone in the chat can tell us, by all means, let us know too. I'm going to guess it was probably in the 70s. I'm going to say 72.
Well, as you guys both know, the Vikings were NFL champions in 1969. So that would be the absolute earliest. And it is the right answer, is 1969.
Damn! That's what I based it off of.
Yeah.
I was close. All right, I
You
don't
were
feel
real
terrible
close
about that.
68. I know you were probably thinking maybe they got to the playoffs 1 year before that season.
Yep.
But no, didn't happen. Here's a fun quarterback question for you. Which Vikings quarterback holds the franchise single game record for passing yards?
I'm going to say Fran.
Dante.
It is
That'd be
Tommy
correct.
Kramer
Tommy
Damn it.
Kramer.
with 490 passing yards in a game.
Damn.
Christ.
I
I
went with
wasn't going to
Dante.
guess that number either.
I went with Dante thinking that having Lawson and then something would have helped out. See, I'm not the only one. Cliff was with me too on that.
Hey, we'll
No,
slow it
it's-
down and let you answer too before Adam gets the next one out.
We'll get something a little more modern here for you. 1992. Who was the Vikings defensive coordinator?
Mike Tomlin.
No, not in 92.
No, I'm thinking 2002. Yeah, that was dead
Yeah.
wrong. That's my bad.
The Colts head coach. I just drew a blank. I can't think of his name.
You got to think of the name, man.
Frank Reich?
No.
You
Peyton
said the
Manning.
Colts.
West is on the right track.
Yeah, Peyton Manning's coach for the Colts.
Oh,
Tony
Jim
Dungy.
Irsay?
Tony
Dungy, there you go.
Dungy. It was Tony Dungy, right?
Nice.
You are right.
Yes.
That's a good one. Now, this one is a fun one because I completely forgot about this person. Who had the most rushing touchdowns for the Minnesota Vikings during the 2005 season?
2005.
Nope, I'm not even going to make an attempt.
I
I
can't.
was a junior in high school, and then football was benign to anything to me. So I have no clue.
Yeah, I was.
That's the only name that came to mind, Cliff. But I don't feel like that's right.
I think that this was a little before Chester Taylor's time in Minnesota. I can't. I don't know. I don't know, Adam.
Ciatric Faison.
I don't know who that is. No joke.
I figured you guys would get a great kick out of that one because
Wow.
that was one that I just kind of was like, wow, what?
That is
How many touchdowns did he have?
Well, the explanation here is a little long because he got a lot of goal line work here. He actually led the team with 4 rushing touchdowns.
Oof.
That 05 team was awful.
It was real bad.
Oh.
But let's end this with one where you guys have no excuses for getting this one wrong because this is an era where both you guys were big into the Vikings, I think. Well, maybe
I'll
not
get
so
it
much
wrong.
Smith.
I'll get
But
it wrong.
1998. I know you guys are both big fans of the 98 season.
Mhm.
The Vikings were 15-1. Who's that one?
Who was the team they lost to? Oh, fuck off, Adam.
Can I ask a question? I don't want the answer. Can I ask a question? Was this when they were still the NFC Central?
I believe so. Yes.
I'll say Tampa Bay.
Would have been for the division realignment.
And that is strictly from me reading shit online because I was 10 years old. I knew who Brett Favre and John Elway were. That was it.
Do you know? Am I allowed to guess about what week it happened?
I don't have that information in front of me.
That information in front of you? Because I think it was like week 10.
Okay, the 4 options on the question were Jacksonville, St. Louis, Tampa Bay, or Dallas.
It's Tampa.
It is Tampa.
It's Tampa. Yeah.
Total guess in the dark. 1 out of 5. Yeah.
I'm curious.
Boom.
Where's my phone?
That was a weird division. It's a team in Florida playing all these northern teams. What a weird setup that was.
And there's always people out still pushing for divisions to be realigned. It's like the NFC North. It's perfect. Don't need to mess with it.
They're not going to mess with that.
But it would be weird for like those Northeast cities to all kind of group together.
This is how close I was. Tampa Bay was week 9.
Ooh.
Nice. Good job.
Yeah.
Viking Jerome, what's up, man?
I'm just putting you guys what's theatric phase on.
We need to bring back the 98 uniforms. They need to do these throwbacks at some point. These new ones are but those, especially those ones during like 2010 to 2012. God, those are gross. Ugh.
Yeah, the ones that look like Arizona.
The Reebok
Cardinals.
ones? Is that the Reebok ones?
Yeah.
Oh, back in the Reebok era.
Those are like, dude, so when we would do PT tests in the Air Force, you would have to put on these generic things. You would get them in gym class at a public school, right? Generic, like mesh stuff. The only thing I can think that comes to mind to describe it perfectly is like when you see 51st Dates, the guy that was lifting and they always had that see-through shirt on. They were like those. That's
those rave club shirts.
God, just to basically show your bare chest. It's like that's what those uniforms remind me of. I'm like, these are so cheap.
You know what sucks? Is some of my favorite Vikings of all time played in that era, and like I want to buy their jerseys and wear them, but I hate that style of uniform.
They look so cheap to me, and I hate being that guy, but I'll buy the throwback any day of the week.
Yeah.
Oh,
give me like an Antoine Winfield jersey done in the throwback. Like,
I know.
Yeah, in that style, that era.
I got one of them back in the closet.
What do you guys think? So I don't like when they sell the retro, like a retro player in the new style jerseys. So like the current uniform with, I don't know who, someone, one of the older players on the back of it.
Like a new style Randy Moss jersey.
Yeah, new style Randy Moss or
you look at it and you think, oh, that should be Irv Smith, and it's Randy Moss.
Yeah, I don't like that because Randy Moss never played in this era uniform. So why would you?
It's not historically accurate.
Right, I don't like that.
I don't mind.
I love that.
Now, for me, my gripe about all this is, do they really need to release like 50 different new Vikings hats every year? Every year, there's got to be like a million different styles of every NFL team helmet, every hat.
And you know what sucks? I bought one of them, and it's not from the NFL. It's from Mitchell and Ness. Those hats they make are garbage. I don't have any one of them, and I'm wearing one now, like not a Vikings hat. I love hats. I love them so much. I think a lot of those hats that they do on like NFL Shop or the Viking set or like Fanatics, they're kind of goofy looking, man.
And I know people that collect snapbacks.
Ugh. I was gonna say, yeah, they're people who collect them. They don't even wear them. They just collect them. Yeah,
they're so goofy, man. It feels like a comic book design on a hat, but it's not cool.
See, I have a large head, so for me finding a hat that fits properly is absolutely absurd. And I can't go into a store like a gas station or something and buy a pair of sunglasses because they don't fit on my head.
Yeah.
So, yeah, for me, hats already are kind of like a no, definitely not online if I'm not trying it on first. But for you normal head people, I mean, you're probably doing pretty good. But that's all I had for today. I wanted to throw those trivia questions out and
Trivia
have a little
was
bit of fun with them.
I like the trivia.
Yeah, there's not much going on. There will be soon, in about 2 weeks to 3 weeks. The Vikings will enter training camp, and
As soon as you hit training camp, football season is here. It moves
yeah.
This is the last month, ladies and gentlemen, until February.
And you'll get rumblings about everything those first couple weeks.
Well, we already have that here on the Viking Age, and I can spoil this guy's stuff. I'm not going to read the list, but there's other stuff to check out on the Viking Age from the other Adam over there, Adam Patrick. 6 most overrated Minnesota Vikings players on the 2022 roster.
I thought that was an interesting piece.
It's pretty good. I liked who headlined it on the cover because I was like, I can see that. Ooh, number 2. No way. You guys got to check this article out. I agree with most of these. That's a surprise. We haven't talked about Alexander Madison either. Eric Kendricks in here. Tell your friend to fire himself. Don't you ever talk bad about Eric Kendricks again. Oh, Adam Patrick. God. It's like full-time editor for the Viking Age and part-time troll. I swear. Every time, dude.
He knows how to get people riled up, that's for sure.
Yeah.
He gets people talking.
He does. I'll give him that. I don't have an actual beef with him. I like that there's different thoughts because that would be very boring if we agreed on everything. Eric Kendricks is an interesting one on there, but yeah, we haven't talked about Alexander Madison on this show yet. That seems to be something that's swirling around on Vikings Twitter lately is, hey, should they trade him? Why in the world do we have to trade the guy right now?
I think last week Wes said he'd be surprised if Madison actually made it through to the roster.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised if he makes the roster. He's clearly talented and he's clearly the number 2 back. I'm on the thought process here of if someone comes calling, if you're Quezzy, you listen to that conversation and you take it more seriously than I think Vikings fans maybe want to admit, because we have some depth and talent there at running back behind him. So it's just something to think about.
But why trade for him when you got Le'Veon Bell and Adrian Peterson as free agents?
Oh.
Oof.
Is he hurting his
Why trade
legacy?
for them when you can watch them in a celebrity boxing match? Things I thought I'd never say for 300.
What's that movie, Eternal Sunshine for the Spotless Mind, where you can just remove a part of your memory? Can I just remove everything pre Adrian Peterson and switching his children? And just
wish I could remove the memories of watching that movie.
I like that.
Wow.
Movie.
That was a good one.
That was bad.
What do you think? Is he hurting his legacy? Is he
absolutely?
Is he?
His football
Among
legacy's
fans,
already
yes.
hurt. His football legacy's already hurt. I at this point, I'm not surprised by anything.
Bouncing around the league the way he has at the end here, and pretty much begging teams to pick him up. That alone is tough enough.
Yeah. There was a point where, if you were to ask me, "Oh, Ring of Honor Hall of Fame?" Yeah, oh, hell yeah. Ring of Honor Hall of Fame for Peterson now? Well, now
he's in.
Now it's turning into another conversation.
As long as he doesn't do something really bad, I feel like he'll be in.
Yeah, the dust will settle. He'll go in the Hall of Fame. I don't know if he's first ballot, probably, because he's got all the fucking yards. But man, that was a bad fizzle out at the end.
And who knows? Maybe if he really cleans Le'Veon Bell's clock, maybe his stock will shoot up. You never know.
Do you think they're gonna? Are they gonna box an actual match, or are they just going out there for money and they're just gonna spar a little bit?
They'll get trainers and stuff, and they'll actually do all the sanction, like the gloves or this or that. But these guys don't box. If I'm a boxing fan, I'm not watching that fight. That is so.
I'm not. Hold on. There's a distinction. I'm not paying for that fight. Will I?
That's a good point.
Will I pirate this fight online and watch it for free because I'm a little intrigued by it? Yes,
hey, I'll say this: I'll watch an Adrian Peterson fight 10 out of 10 times before I ever will give any of my time and absolutely none of my money to Jake Paul. Never.
Hey, we're joking right now, but I would not want to get hit by Adrian Peterson. I bet he hits like a freight train.
Well, he when he shakes people's hand, he almost breaks them. So I'm sure. Yeah. That's sad. This is like circus-like for that guy. Ugh, that hurts. Yeah, I think that's it though. We'll keep you guys updated on any news. We'll post it to the page if anything major happens. But right now we're just gearing up, and so are the players for. That's the one I want to watch.
Well,
Absolutely, and I'm putting my money on Mike Zimmer clawing his eyeballs out.
The rumor going around is that Zimmer and Norv Turner got into it, like actual fist fight behind the scenes. Correct, and that is what led to Norv Turner resigning from the Minnesota Vikings.
That was kind of abrupt.
Yeah, that's what I heard, is that they actually got into a fist fight.
Dude, you think about the thing that I think about when you bring up that story is, remember when Hugh Jackson was the coach of the Browns for those like couple seasons?
Oh yeah.
When he sat down on Hard Knocks and was like, I am the king of the castle. This is my chair. I'm the head coach. The power that comes with that title and that organization is unreal. And part of that had to be going on with what we were saying, Kyle, because
that's two
old men should not fight each other ever.
Right. And also, I bet if you got North pissed off, I bet he'd be like, look here, motherfucker, I've been an NFL head coach longer than you have. And how many games did they win? How many playoff wins did he have underneath his belt? So that's a pissing match.
And I still haven't heard any real interest other than that one sniff about Jacksonville, about either Spielman or Zimmer getting any kind of job after Minnesota.
Oh, Zimmer's got to be done, unless he's going to be a D coordinator somewhere.
He's happily retired. I think if, like I've said all along, if Deion Sanders comes calling, hey, coach, you want to come help out with...
He has said he is not retired and wants to coach more.
I hope Spielman never gets a job again after those odd, gross, weird TikToks that he puts out. Stop. Get off of social media, old man, and stop. This is clearly for a specific younger group of people, and you're scaring all of us. Quit. Stop it. It's so weird.
I like
so
that.
Weird.
It's weird. Yeah, I don't need that in my life.
But we're going to call it there because we've already rambled on for 47 minutes about we don't even know what at this point. So thank you to everyone who joined us in the chat. I know it was basically Jerome and Cliff in here hanging out, and we always appreciate that, even when you guys can make it. And maybe if we do another show here a little bit earlier in the day, we'll get a little bit more people in here. But we were happy to be able to squeeze this one in and be able to talk football with you guys. So thanks again there. You can catch the full archive of shows over on our YouTube channel. You can catch a lot of I believe it's 5 of our most recent shows wherever you stream your podcast, whether it's Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Podomatic, Spotify. I believe I said it already. I don't know. But yeah, wherever you catch your podcast, we're probably there. If not, try another place until you find us. That's my recommendation.
You can call us on the phone. We'll chit-chat Vikings with you if you want to.
Yeah, it's 911. I'm always here.
Oh, no, don't do that.
Oh, man. Yes, Cliff. Spielman is on my For You page, and I hate it so much. But this is where you can find Adam Carlson's stuff. He'll tell you about it.
It's true. I am over on the Viking Age, where I write a little bit each week about the Minnesota Vikings. Usually put out some kind of list at least twice or maybe 3 times a week about what's going on in Minnesotaville. And over on Undead Walking, maybe an article or 2 a month, just to kind of keep things fresh, change things up, talk about zombies, have a little bit of fun there. You can catch me on my Twitch page. You can catch me YouTube and all those things, whether you're on the TikToks or the Twitter machines. I'm MN Viking Zombie. You can catch me there. That's where I do my stuff.
Hell yeah. Follow Adam on all the socials right there. Kyle West, if you want to stalk him, you can do it at this handle right here. He has some good Twitter takes too. It's been really good. You can buy things from Kyle West at this website, and you should buy things. You should make it a goal this Christmas to buy the most unique and odd and weird thing you can find on this website, because you have endless opportunities to do that.
I will get the link. I forgot because I am not good at planning ahead, but I will get the link next week. My friend Jeff and I did a little short movie thing that we put up on the TikTok that is chopped up into 7 or 8 different episodes. It's pretty cool. If you guys like the Cloverfield or the Blair Witch Project, check this out. We did like a full-on like short story, and there is, spoilers, there's a CG monster at the end of it.
Oh no.
Yes, we went all out in it. It's pretty cool. So check it out. I'll get the link for you guys next week on that. Or if you check out my social media, you can find it on there as well, too.
Excellent,
Bam.
excellent.
Right there.
Mr. Smith and I should be back hopefully soon with another movie review. I like talking about horror movies. I'd like to do that again sometime soon.
We'll figure that out.
On behalf of the rest of the guys and I, once again, thanks for joining us. We'll be back sometime. I don't know if it's going to be a week. I don't know if it's going to be 10 days. I don't know if it's going to be 3 days. We'll have to wait and see what happens with Vikings football and see when we get a chance to talk about what's going on. But we will be back for another episode. So in the meantime, stay classy, Minnesota.